Hello and welcome back to our new video class, high class 4. So as in our previous video class we seen our fifth topic. What was the name of our fifth topic? Life on the Iceland, a new experience. Yes, this is the topic which we had completed, and in that topic we had learned about how we have to live on the Iceland when we are alone. So now today we are going to start our new rhyme, and the new rhyme's name is trees. Okay, so as you can see, here is the picture of tree, and today we are going to see exactly about our new poem trees, and this poem is written by Joyce Kilmer. Okay, so as you can see, this is the page of your rhyme. So first of all, I will tell you in that poem what we are going to learn. Today we are going to learn that trees are very precious, because trees gives everything. Trees gives to us life. They gives us to fresh air. Then we can got everything from the trees, and in the nowadays we have to disturb the environmental balance, and so that trees are no longer in sense. So we have to keep in mind that to protect the trees, it's our moral duty. So today we are going to learn that trees are very precious. So as you can see on the screen, there are 6 stanzas in your poem, and the six stanzas are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th and 6th, and every stanza have 2 lines. Yes, means how many lines in our full poem? 6 into 2 means we have only 12 lines poem. So I think we have to finish it today itself. Okay, so first of all I will read the whole poem, and then we have to go with the stanza wise explanation, stanza wise summary. Okay, so the first 2 lines of our poem were: I think that I shall never see a poem lovely as a tree whose hungry mouth is pressed against the earth's sweet flowing breast, a tree that looks at a tree that looks at God all day and lifts her leafy arms to pray, a tree that may in summer wear a nest of robins in her hair, upon whom bosom snow has lain, who intimately lives with rain. Poems are made by fools like me, but only God can make a tree. Okay, so this is our whole poem. Now I am going to make it by the summary of this poem. Okay, so as you can see, this is very short poem, only 12 lines are there. So first of all I want to tell you about Trees by Joyce Kilmer. So who is exactly that particular person? Trees by Joyce Kilmer was written in February of 1913. This poem is written during 1913 and was first published in Poetry, a magazine of verse. Okay, so this poem is published in the year 1913. Yes, in the year 1913 by and was first published in the Poetry, a magazine of verse. Okay, it was then included in Trees and Other Poems, one of Kilmer's most popular volumes. It is for Trees that Kilmer is most widely remembered. He was very famous poet. The poem has become well loved due to its accessible simplicity and has been frequently included in popular anthologies of modern poetry. In more recent years, it has been set to music and performed by several different musicians also. Yes, definitely, because there are only 6 stanzas and each stanza have 2 lines and it is very simple poem. But as it looks very simple, rather than the simplicity only the purposes, it most have the popular, and different musicians also perform that music on that poem. So there has been speculation since the conception of this piece about whether or not there was one tree the poet had in mind while composing the text. It has been suggested that Rutgers University or the University of Notre Dame are possible locations for the tree Kilmer has in mind. Although the poet later stated the poem was written in the family home in Mahavaz, then Jersey, liking the placing the specific settings if there is one there. Then so I will first of all tell you what is the exactly the summary of this poem The Tree. Okay, so मैं आपको पहले इस ट्रीज पोएम की समरी बताती हूँ कि एग्जैक्टली इसमें है क्या. ओवरऑल बैकग्राउंड में इसका समझाती हूँ अभी आपको. ओके, the poem begins with the speaker stating that he will never see a poem that is more beautiful than a tree. The first stanza has this meaning. Then he does not believe that humanity is capable of making something better than what God has made. The following lines are devoted to the type of tree he has in mind. It will have an intimate connection to the earth and its elements. There will be birds nesting in the branches in the summer and gentle snow on the tree's bosom in the winter. The poem concludes with the speaker explaining that no matter what humankind does, no poem or piece of art will be lovelier than what already exists on the planet. So although the poem is quoted in full below, you can read the poem at poem The Hunter here. Okay, so the theme of the poem, इसकी थीम क्या है, मीन्स एग्जैक्टली ये पोएम हमें क्या समझाना चाहती है वो मैं आपको बताती हूँ. Throughout trees, Kilmer explores themes of God's creation, wonder and nature. The poem celebrates the world that the Christian God created and wonders over its vast complexity. The speaker knows very clearly and fully that he will never see or write a poem as lovely as a tree, Then through this statement he is admitting his own inability to live up to the creation of the natural world, and the power to make something as beautiful and wonderful as a tree is reserved to only the God. So the structure of the form of the trees is have the rhyming scheme. Okay, so first of all I will tell you what is the structure, because whenever I am going to teach any rhyme I have to make it everything very clear. No doubt I want in that particular rhyme. So I am going to tell you a whole about this poem, about the poet, about the summary of the poem, about the structure of the poem, about the rhyming scheme of the poem, about the theme of the poem. Everything the student have to be remember it. This is the right of student, that he make the everything clear, because only the teacher can teach that things. So I will never remain anything such a kind of that thing. Okay, so what is exactly structure and form of trees? The poem Trees having the structure and form, that the poem is written by Joyce Kilmer. Yes, so Joyce Kilmer's poem is made up of 12 lines. which are separated into 6 sets of 2 lines. Yes, so there are 2 couplets. So Kilmer has chosen to confirm the poem to a consistent rhyme scheme of AA, BB, CC, DD, EE, then AA. So what is exactly AA, BB, CC, DD, EE, AA? I will tell you. Means C tree, me tree. Okay, so this is AA, AA. Okay, then breast AA के बाद क्या आता है? BB. Yes, then day, pray, CC, wear, hair, DD, then lane, rain, EE. Okay, then again me, tree, AA. This is the structure of the rhyme. ये rhyming structure है trees poem का. उसके बाद में इस तरीके से ये पोएम बनी है. द पोएट हैज़ ऑल्सो सेलेक्टेड टू यूटिलाइज एन ऑलमोस्ट एंटायरली यूनिफाइंग मेट्रिकल पैटर्न. ऑल द लाइन्स एक्सेप्ट वन आर रिटन इन iambic tetrameter. The 11th line of the piece begins on a stressed syllable and drops the unstressed. Okay, so the 11th line, this is the 11th line, and the 11th line drops the unstressed. Okay, so now the technique I told you. So now this is the time to move on towards the summary of our poem. Okay, so first of all we are going to analyze our poem. So the 2 lines of our poem were, I will tell you the 4 line explanation. Okay, so as I told you, so these are the 4 lines, means 2 stanzas. What is there? I think that I shall never see a poem lovely as a tree whose hungry mouth is pressed against the earth's sweet flowing breast. Okay, so this is our first 2 stanzas, and the meaning of the 2 stanzas were the first couplet begins with a simple yet impactful statement about the future. Kilmer's speaker declares without any further introduction that he will never see a poem lovely as a tree. His words are straightforward and easily accessible, an appealing aspect of this piece. He knows without a doubt that every tree on the planet is greater and more lovely than even the most beautiful poem. These lines are made even more rhythmic by the use of alliteration with the word shall and see. Okay, so there are 2 alliteration, shall and see. So only because of that these lines were beautiful. In the following lines he moves from a generalized image of all trees to one specific type of kind. The tree he has in mind has its hungry mouth pressed. Yes, his hungry mouth pressed to the earth. It is taking in the nutrient provided by the soil and becoming sweeter of the earth's sweet flowing breast. There is a clear use of personification. Yes, there is clear use of personification in these lines. A technique the poet continues throughout the poems entirely. It is used in an effort to make something inanimate feel more real. A reader is better able to empathize with the subject if it is human. The human connection is quite important, not just that the tree is personified and therefore made more relatable, but in order to connect humankind to nature is so often elevates itself over. So these are the exactly meaning of these two stanzas. Now we have to move towards our fifth line to the eighth line of the poem. So I will read it again, our third and fourth stanza. A tree that looks at God all day and lifts her leafy arms to pray. A tree that may in summer wear a nest of robins in her hair. So, in the third couplet, the speaker develops the character of this kind of tree further. Due to its position on the planet and its generally unchanging structure, it is always facing God. It looks at God at all. Yes. This fact is to the tree's benefit. Its religiosity makes it at once more and less human. The tree finds a connection with a God as much of humanity does, but it more devoted than any couple hope to be to. In the next lines, the speaker refers to the perennial plant as her. This is a direct connection to the larger symbol of Mother Earth, a preceding female presence on the planet, or more clearly the planet itself, that is responsible for the growth of and the cultivation of life. She spends all day looking to God and lifting her arms to pray. Then the next two lines of bring the tree back to earth. While she may be devoted, as she also remains part of the earth. In the summer there will be a nest of robins in her hair. This quirky line is meant to endear the tree to the reader. The physical mundane world is still at work around the trees. So this is the explanation of our third and fourth stanza. Now our fifth and sixth stanza means the concluding stanza, that is from 9th line to the 12th line, is what? Upon whose bosom snow has lain, who intimately lives with rain. Poems are made by fools like me, but only God can make a tree. Yes, definitely only God can make a tree. No one can make tree. The poet says that we are just a fool, and I am a fool, and only the God can create all the planet. Yes, definitely in the second to the last couplet, the speaker continues to describe how the impact of the seasons on the plant. The tree has become quite specific at this point. It has moved from a generalized, all-encompassing symbol to a specific plant the speaker can recall in detail. When winter comes, there will be snow on the bosom of the tree. Yes, then it will rest trees gently, doing no harm to her branches. The speaker concludes these descriptions with a reference to the rain, as you can see here. Just like the sun and the snow, this element does not do anything to act against or injure the tree. She lives intimately with rain just as she does with everything else. In the final two lines, the speaker returns to the overall theme of the piece, that art cannot match nature. This, he explains, is due to humanity's own way of being. No man or woman can outdo one of God's creation. Okay, so in this way, this is our poem Trees. I think you people understood this poem exactly. So this is all about our poem Trees. And as we can see, what is the rhyming scheme of the poem? A, B, B, C, C, D, D, E, and again A. This is the rhyming scheme of our poem. In our poem, there are 6 stanzas, and each stanza have 2 lines. It means overall poem is of about 12 lines. So in this way, this poem is about the creation about the trees, and how the trees are very precious for human beings, because no one can make tree, only God can make a tree. So this is the poem by Joyce Gilmer, The Trees. So thank you so much for listening me. In our next video class, we have to go towards our next topic, weaving dreams of gold.